know why I feel this way. It's because of the server I love to play. Bring adventure for me every day. Play on the server the TimeShot way.
Hello, people. It's Poet. And we're back on TimeShot. Now, today's the day that we usually do the things now. I know I was supposed to do it like the day after I did my last video, but I'm doing it today. Okay? It's the topics of the week, the top comments, whatever you want to call it. I'm very hesitant to call it top comments because, like, I actually took the time and I read through every single comment that was left on TimeShot videos, and since the topics thing that we did last time. And although I only had like a couple videos since then, we got quite a few things to chat about today. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to call them top comments because it doesn't mean that, like, if your comment doesn't get picked that you failed, or that you did something wrong, or that I didn't appreciate it, or that it didn't make me think about something. That's not the case at all. It's just a matter of, time. And we have to, I just wanted to not repeat myself, and, I'll limit it to what I feel like doing, right? So that's that. But it's not saying, like, if I call it top comments, it's not meaning like your comments weren't good or something. But these are the topics of the week. And we're going to start right away. First thing, going a couple videos back to our last topics video, and I got a comment from Hunter Morris, and he says, what do you think about the new 1.11 update, or whatever it'll be? Let's not call it 1.11. Let's call it the snapshot. Could be 1.12 for all we know. But anyway, what do you think of the update? And do you think the mob limit in one block will affect the mob grinders? First of all, no, I don't think that it'll affect grinders. But I don't know too much about the update itself. I know that the list of fixes, as far as like the latest snapshot goes, are absolutely crazy. It's just a crazy amount of bug fixes, which is always kind of a bone of contention for me, because it's like some bugs we take as features these days in Minecraft. A lot of the redstone trickery, piston stuff, different blocks have different things that they can do, and we have always in the Minecraft community used them to our advantage. It's how we got things like sand duplicators, how we get villager farms, how we get mob grinders like the Enderman grinder, and stuff like that. Those are technically, a lot of them, bugs. But they can benefit us quite a bit in game. So when they fix bugs, often it's great. Sometimes, they remove things that we take for granted. So far, I don't know anything about this snapshot, really. Apart from just a few minor things that I read about the update when I was watching that I read when I was watching. The things that I saw at Minecon, I wasn't at Minecon, but I watched it live, the 1.11 snapshot edition revealing. Having the ability to basically get backpacks with the shulker, whatever they're called, boxes, that'll be interesting. Apart from that, I don't really know much. Just that I played a couple episodes of the building game that Seth Bling made for 1.11 snapshot, and I said not to call it 1.11, and now I just keep calling it that. But anyway, I played the snapshot edition in the latest snapshot, and it is completely and entirely broken. So there's that thing again where, sometimes updates break things. It's both good and bad. It's whatever. You just gotta deal with it when the full game gets released. Hopefully those things will be ironed out. But it was fun either way playing that in 1.11, and I don't really know what benefits he used from 1.11, the snapshot, but I don't know. If it makes game modes like that easier for developers to make, then great. Great. I'm going to maybe put in the glass here today while we're chatting about these topics. But do you think the mob limit will affect it? No, because here's a good example, okay? Say you've got a mob grinder and you got all your mobs funneled to this one little spot. So they're all sitting in here, your zombies or whatever. And there's a limit now on how many can sit in this little spot. Here's your solution. Make it 2 big, or make it 3 big, or scale it to a 4x4. You know, it's not really going to affect how grinders and things like that work, because while there's maybe a limit on how many can be in one little individual spot, which is a benefit to any server, at the same time, it does make things a little bit more difficult, but it won't be as crippling as some people have feared it to be. Mob grinders largely will still work the same way that they always do. Not a big deal. Next topic is from Faith! Exclamation point. Faith! And Faith asks, could you talk about how you deal with insecurities in the next video, Poet? I really could use an opinion on how to deal with those types of things. Sad face. Well, don't be sad face. Here's the thing. I used to be pretty insecure about myself, about my abilities. I was thankfully never held back in school, but, you know, learning and that kind of stuff was always an issue for me because I can't pay attention, and I was never on any medication to help me pay attention. So learning and stuff was sort of embarrassing for me because I'd often be behind the rest of the class, but just barely hanging on. As far as like appearance goes, I was actually not too bad in high school and stuff like that. I was pretty fit. I didn't think that I looked bad. You know, who am I to say I look bad, right? But when I got to college, I put on not only the freshman 15, I put on the freshman 50 and then some. You know, like I had no problem going out to a pizza place for lunch every day of the week kind of thing. Like it was just, to me, that was fun. That was great. But that became a sort of an insecurity to me. Like, am I letting myself go? Am I lazy? Am I, this and that? How do I get past that? And then things like public speaking and being comfortable with other people. There's so many elements to insecurity, How does one get over insecurity? And as I say, like it's kind of hard for me to even relate these days because I don't feel like I'm insecure. And I think that that's sort of just it. It's impossible for me to even explain, but like how can I even word it? I'm not insecure because I choose not to be. That's sort of it, I made a decision when I was in college. And I know that it was in college because, I didn't know anybody there when I went to my university for the first time. I didn't know anybody. I had no friends. A lot of the friends that I had made in high school, you move on. You move on. You do other things. Some people stay friends after high school, but it's fairly rare, I think. I'll be honest. Maybe you keep one or two good friends, but for the most part, you move on. You develop new friends at work, new friends at college, and so on. But to get to that stage, like I didn't know anybody. So I made a choice. I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to just... Oh, wait. Nope, I can't make... I built this up here. I can't do that. That's wrong. I'm in the wrong spot. I said to myself that I wasn't going to be a shy person anymore, that I was done with it. And I don't know who or what I may have used as inspiration. I might have used some. I don't know. But I feel like I couldn't have done it without the help of someone else, but I don't know who that might be. Where I was feeling insecure, but I'd see other people who weren't insecure, who, they weren't any more or less attractive than I was. They weren't any more or less, funny than I was. They didn't have any better talents than I did. There was no reason why they shouldn't also be insecure, but they weren't. They were coping just fine. And I thought to myself, you know what? Why am I this way? Why am I bringing myself down? And I think it just was sort of when I realized that there was no reason to be insecure. Like, I think that was definitely a huge part of it. When I made the sort of realization that there's no reason to be insecure. Like, who am I trying to impress? Who am I so worried about? My boss, my friends. Here's the thing. I made a realization then that, like, if I have a friend, okay, and the friend doesn't like it when I say things a certain way, like maybe my friend doesn't like it if I scream into the microphone, or my friend doesn't like it if, I can only talk about Dungeons and Dragons or hockey or, some topic that they might not like, or maybe I feel like I have to dress a certain way to feel like I'm part of the group. If I'm feeling that way, then they're not really my friends, and why should I care how they feel about me? I should like myself. I should love myself, and that's just the way that it should be. Oops. Oh no. This is going to be such a pain to clean up. I think that was sort of the part of it, was that I sort of realized, I keep saying realize because it's something that, like, it should be obvious. And once you realize it, it is so obvious that you shouldn't think about how other people think about, like you shouldn't take someone else's opinion into consideration when you're talking about yourself and how you should act, how you should dress, how you should feel, how you should look. Think about yourself only when it comes to those types of things. You are you. And you're you because you're you. Nobody else can be you. Nobody else should influence who you are in such a dramatic way that you feel inclined to change yourself or be somebody different, or even feel embarrassed about the way that you act or are. So I think that, in my opinion, is the best advice I can give, is just try to be yourself and, like, genuinely love yourself. And it's difficult, I know, especially when you don't have a high opinion of yourself to begin with. Telling you to say, like, well, you should love yourself. That's easy for me to say, but I know it can be difficult, if not impossible to you, seemingly. But you just gotta keep telling yourself again and again and again and again until it becomes that fact that you know. It sounds narcissistic. It sounds self-absorbed, but you kind of have to be that way. It's a strange thing to say, but, if I didn't love the way that I act, or the way that I talk, or the way that I am, or the way that I look, then of course I'd be insecure. You just have to get past that. You have to feel secure about who you are and what you do, how you do it, so on and so forth. Do I not have... Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I'm out of glass. Oh no, here's some. Oops. Is it like this? Yes. Okay. That won't make enough to complete very much. But we'll continue. I might have to stop and go get sand. Anyway, that's my advice on how to deal with insecurities, is that you just kind of have to be, like, full on love yourself mode and enjoy being yourself. Enjoy being you. Enjoy your quirks and... Oh, God. There we go. enjoy being yourself. Like, if you do something badly, then own up to it and do it the worst you can. I mean, why not? You are you, and nobody else can be. So you might as well enjoy it, you know? That kind of thought, like that I'm the best, it really got me through a lot of public speaking moments where, you know, other people might be shy to say things in public or in front of crowds of hundreds of people. But I go up there thinking, you know what? These people are all going to love me. And whether they do or not, that's really their problem, not mine. I'm amazing. And so they'd be crazy not to love me, you know? That's the kind of thought you just have to always have. And yeah, that's how you get past that's how I get past my insecurity anyway. And now I can confidently sort of say that, like, I don't feel insecure in just about any situation. I'm very happy being myself. Next topic, completely unrelated. They basically all are, I think. Is from Jordy. And Jordy says, hold on, let me get to a safer spot. Jordy says, big difference between a past poet and now poet, or now poet and past poet, looking back at older videos. Because I said that I don't know really how I've changed. I don't think I've changed, but of course people change, you know? Big difference is that is my trolliness, as far as he can tell. I've become such a troll since I have been part of Red Cubed. Either that or I can only remember the good side of you. If that is the case, well played, evil side. I like you, troll side, and I am glad you developed it more. Thanks, I think. Yeah, I mean, that I think is part, not so much insecurity, segue, but it's sort of like I was very comfortable with certain people on wow. I was comfortable with certain people on Red Cubed, okay? Because I was the newcomer there. I was one of the later members to join until, you know, the season 2 started and all that. But I didn't know that many people, and it actually took me quite a while for me to even start collaborating with others and, you know, doing that kind of stuff. Not because I was insecure about, you know, collaborating with them, doing videos with them, but maybe a certain element of shyness, not knowing the in-jokes, not sure what people's limitations were, and it's sort of to the point now where it's not that I don't care what their limitations are, and I do know in certain instances certain things that I shouldn't say to certain people, you know, and I've learned the hard way often when it comes to certain things that I've said, and they'll talk to me after and say, listen, I really didn't appreciate the way that you said those things. I've had to learn and evolve what my limits are with other people. And it's not that I don't think that I could have been more trolly back then, but I definitely could have been. I don't know that I would have been, because I didn't know the people all that well, and I don't ever want to be like that new guy who comes on and starts making a big issues for everyone, even if it's in fun, when they've already got like a dedicated way of doing things. And, you know, hope I'm saying that right, but I think you know what I mean. Is that now that I'm on TimeShot here, and I've essentially surrounded myself with people who I know are comfortable and used to the way that I behave and the way that I act and things like that. And I know what people's personal boundaries are typically. And I push them. I try to push them as much as I can. Especially when it comes to things like with Edson's mules and stuff. Like, I actually had someone in the comments asking if I was serious about it. Serious about what? It's Minecraft. Serious about Minecraft mules? I mean, clearly the humor is being lost there somewhere. If people are getting offended by it or feeling like I'm picking on somebody, picking on them is the point. I mean, it's all in fun. It's all entirely in fun. I know that Edson can take it. Even if he were to tell me tomorrow, Poet, stop, I really can't take this. I know. I at least feel like I know enough that he's the kind of person where I feel like I need to push the boundaries. I need to get him out of his comfort zone because I know that people like him struggle with collaborating with others and insecurity and getting out there and doing things with, just being comfortable. And if I can go out of my way to make someone who's uncomfortable feel even more uncomfortable, then I feel like I've won somehow. Like, you gotta involve them either sometimes by brute force. And I think that's sort of how we've always run TimeShot in general, or at least how I have, is that I show my affection and my appreciation and all of those good, happy things by how I will pick on you. It's like how a boy shows he likes a girl, is sometimes by picking on them. And it might not seem like a very polite thing to do, but sometimes it's just a way that a guy shows that he likes you. I'm not saying that I want to be romantically involved with Edson, wink, wink, but I'm just saying that, as with anybody that I've trolled on the server, it's just my way of showing that I care. Because the way that I think and the way that the insecurities thing goes and how I think that I'm amazing, I wouldn't give you any amount of time at all if I didn't feel it was worth it to me personally, so take it as that, I guess. I need to go get glass, which means we're going to go to the sand farm. But yeah, I feel like I am a little bit more trolly, but that's only just because, your comfort level develops as you learn who your friends are. And it's now to the point where some people on TimeShot I've known for like 4 or 5 years. And that's a crazy amount of time. But with those 4 or 5 years, I've been able to say that I love Fabe's mom. That's this kind of thing that I can say. Because I know what Fabe's boundaries are, what his limits are, what his mother's limits are. And I can say things like that. And it's funny to both him and me. And that's just the way that it is. It's you just, as you know people, you control them better. That's my opinion. Next comment is from Sakana McLet'sBuild. And it's a long one. It says, "Hi, Poet. For me, I feel that YouTube adverts are an enigma. Well, on one hand, Google, the owner of YouTube, needs adverts for revenue. So if they prevent a video from having an advert due to mature content, then they are losing much needed revenue. However, some of the adverts that I am forced to watch before the beginning of a video make me cringe. For example, there's a woman talking about gastrointestinal problems in front of her date's family members, and another of the video is entirely Spanish. If YouTube took notice, it would realize that I only watch videos in English and Japanese. Perplexed. Look, what are your thoughts about this?" Or perplexed look. It was an emotion. So to talk about kind of the second part of that, the first one, yeah, I agree, is, they're losing some revenue definitely on not showing ads on all content. But it's the advertiser's choice, really. It goes back to that talk I had. It should be the advertiser's choice what videos they put their content on, But to talk about the second part, the videos that YouTube shows you are largely, in part, based upon your viewing, and not only your viewing on YouTube, but like on different websites, on different products. Tracking cookies follow you everywhere. Like, if I'm searching up, what was it the other day? I noticed that it was kind of weird. it was something on eBay or Amazon or one of those sites. And I was looking up something. I don't remember. It could have been like, here's the thing. My mom has this credit card, and this credit card gets these points, right? And you can spend these points on actual real life items. And I might have been looking up like toasters for her because she wants a new toaster. And so I was like looking up a toaster, and I was on this other completely different website, and I was getting these ads for like these different toasters and things. And that's just the way that the advertisement world works. It thinks it knows what you're interested in, especially when shopping is concerned. And so it'll show you those things. Similar to like how if I'm looking up houses and housing information, then I'm going to get a lot of real estate related ads and things like that. So it takes into account what you've looked at, what products you've seen, what other videos you might have clicked on, even by accident, where you're from, where you live, what other people in your area typically look at, so or what your age group typically looks at. There are so many different aspects to trying to show you what they think you'll want to see. So you might have gotten a gastrointestinal problem ad, but maybe people in your same age group have that issue, or maybe you happen to be looking up some other kind of like medical problem, or maybe someone in your family was on the same computer network, or maybe, there's so many different reasons why. It could just be random. Because after all, here's the thing. Probably nobody would go out of their way to want to see some kind of an advertisement about like bowel movements, but the advertiser paid for the space. So YouTube's got to show it to somebody. They just have to. They're paid to. So ultimately, at the end of the day, sometimes it can come down to just like randomness. Yep, they're showing you that ad for no particular reason whatsoever. It's all random. It might not be affecting you whatsoever, but that's how the cookie crumbles. Of course, they do try to show you ads that you will be interested in, because if in fact I was interested in toasters and they did show me an ad on toasters, I might actually even click on that ad, in which case the advertiser wins, YouTube wins, they all win. They've won the game, they've won the internet of advertising. It's, so they do try to show you ads that you will enjoy. But that also changes, like, if you've lied on the internet, and we've had this talk, about trust and stuff, lying on the internet. If you've lied about your age, for example, and say like on YouTube sign up form, you've said that you're 65 years old, well, then you might get ads for 60-year-olds. It's just the way that it's going to work. So that's my thoughts on it anyway. Next comment is from LNK Minecraft and More. Poet and fans alike watch the ending with epic music on. It's the most amazing and funny scene ever. This is talking about the mule episode last time, where a certain somebody gave information about Edson's door. And this was crazy. What's crazy is that me and Jake started recording, okay? And we're going to take Edson's mules to liberate them because he's abusive to mules and yada, yada, yada. You guys know. Hashtag go pet me. What's crazy is that we did like so many segments where we were standing in front of the door, not sure how to proceed, and completely unprovoked. As far as I know, like Jake may have said something. I don't think so, but he may have. Completely unknown to me. Suddenly, we get a tweet saying Edson showed the password in this video. Like, it's such a crazy coincidence. If it's a coincidence, I think it is. Unless Jake was saying something, it's a coincidence, and it's so crazy that's the case, because we had just stopped recording, and we get this tweet, and it's like, the password is this. And so we we had stopped recording for like 5 minutes, and I grabbed Jake, like almost physically, grabbed him through the computers and the internet, and dragged him back into that call, and was like, let's move. And that's when you see the end of the video where, like, even my sound wasn't... Wait a minute. My sound... You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be... Don't tell me my sound this whole time! It's been a half-hour What? What? Are you kidding me? Sound, please. Did I fix it now? Oh my god. Why did it take this long to notice that there was no... I apologize. I apologize profusely. That's so lame. I don't want to re-record this whole episode. I'm not gonna do it. You're just gonna enjoy my voice podcast style up until this point, and my random screaming and fighting and attacking that I did at the beginning will be completely... Anyway. I updated Windows today, so it reset so many settings and added things to my... Why? I had Windows the way that I liked it. I had it the way that I liked it for ages. Why did it have to go and change settings, like my mic settings and my... Like, I'm lucky that I was recording my voice. Oh, I apologize. You have sound now. Enjoy the sanding. It's not like we were doing much. But anyway, yes, that was referring to the mules thing. And like I was saying, it was just random that we got back into that call. And then Edson was there, and it's crazy. It's just crazy. Crazy coincidence. I had fun making it. Yeah, what can I say? That is how it is. I just enjoyed making that little quick thing. If you haven't seen it, definitely go see the Pet Us Quickly, I think is... Or Pet Me Quickly is the way that I named it. Go watch that. It's funny. I liked it. I enjoy doing videos like that. Yep. That's all there is to that. Next question. Oh, I gotta tab out again. Hold on. Don't kill me, things. Okay. Next question. Last! Not a question. Is it? It is. From Hunter Morris again. What? You said 2 things that are in the topics of the thing. Good job. Congratulations. You won the ability to guess my unpredictable choosing of comments. But no, it's a good comment. And it says, if something sounds too good to be true, how do you know if you are actually getting a deal or if you're going to be taken advantage of? An example. You get 100% of your income and free travel benefits, but just put our name at the beginning of your videos. And then later, you get screwed out of money. Well, this is actually kind of interesting that you bring that up, because like I actually do that in some of my videos. For my dinosaur series and for my Ark series, I need that glass. I actually promote videos from different companies, or I promote their products. So like Host Havoc is the hosting provider for Ark, and Bisect Hosting is the provider for my dinosaur series on Minecraft. And I think that that's fair. Like, I am getting those servers essentially handed to me, and in exchange, I advertise for their companies. The only real problem with this, and I ran into this fairly early on, is with a company called Curse. And we talked about them last time too, actually. They are a network, a YouTube network. And I was very proud to be a part of Curse. And Curse never did me wrong. As I said before, I knew the CEO. I have him still to this day on Skype. Ouch. This is getting to be a dangerous place. And it's very middle of the night-ish. So I think maybe we have enough sand right now. I still don't have armor on because I'm waiting for mending. Anyway. What was I just saying? We were talking about advantage and things and curse. Okay. So, curse. I used to put their company name at the end of all my videos. And I don't regret doing that. But when I joined Defy Media, the company that I'm no longer going to be with, they actually said to me, hey, we'd love to promote one of your videos. What video would you love us to promote? And every single one of my videos had that curse logo at the end. And so it was sort of like this, you know, like that sort of stinks. Because although I don't have any qualms about curse, it sort of seemed sort of rude and offensive to me to be with a different company and I'm promoting this other company. Not to mention, whatever happened, like, I might not have enjoyed curse after all. Like, maybe something bad happened between me and them, and then I'd be stuck with all these videos with the curse logo at the end. So, yeah, that could happen. Because, for example, Bisect Hosting, who I promote regularly on all of my dinosaur videos now, my Minecraft dinosaur videos, they actually came to me and were doing something kind of shady where they were saying, like, I asked them if I could get this other thing hosted for a little bit, and they were like, well, to be fair, you haven't done anything for us. Like, you haven't, you're not paying, and you know, nobody's even clicked on your referral link and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, listen, me putting your name at the beginning of every single episode has got to be worth something. It's worth something to me. It should be worth something to you. And they agreed. They actually went back. Oh, crap. Jake's on. I can't do that. They actually went back and said, yeah, okay, we agree. You know, we're sorry. We agree. So, you know, it could have gone the other way, though. Could have been that they said, no, you know what? We're going to drop you as a client. And then I'd be stuck not only without hosting, but I'd be stuck with a bunch of videos featuring a product that I no longer liked or wanted to support. So you got to be careful. You got to be really careful. But how do you know if you're going to get taken advantage? And I think that it's just trial and error. As bad as that sounds, you kind of just... You have to trust somebody if you're really interested in doing that kind of thing. But even this decision to move elsewhere, you know, it's one of those things where I'm gonna, while we wait on the sand, I'm gonna think about these horses. Ow! Are you tame to me? No. It's one of those things where I have to talk to friends who are also on other networks and be like, hey, you're on this network. What do you think about it? Before I even go so far as to contact them. I don't take to heart a lot of the content you see on YouTube. Like, okay, this horse, I'm interested in this one. This guy's got the 3 stars. He might be fast. Who knows? If you see a video from someone saying that, you know, let's use Curse's name again. Curse sucks. You don't know what they've been through. And their opinion might be fairly skewed. It might be very skewed. But either way, if they're making a video like that, then it's because something happened to them that, you know, Curse they feel is responsible for. It's not saying that, you know, you're going to have the same experience. Same as like cars. You know, a lot of people might like Mustangs, but you might not. Maybe your whole family doesn't. Maybe because you've had a bad experience. For example, same exact speed. Same exact speed as my other 2 horses that have armor on. For example, ooh, no, a little bit faster. Hello. We got a new diamond level horse. We got a new dimey. That's how I'll abbreviate it. Anyway, my family, my mother and father, both used to work for Ford. Speaking of Mustang. And they were wronged by the staff in some way. I don't remember the details. I don't care really about the details too much. But they were wronged by the staff in some way. And as such, we just... Ouch. We just never owned any of them again in the family. We never owned another Ford car. And even the mention of them was like, ew, don't talk about them. They're evil. They're terrible, you know? But, you know, I learned that just because they had that bad experience, which could have been completely unrelated to the cars themselves, why should that affect me? So you still have to take even the advice of others with a grain of salt and just make up your mind for yourself. Is this guy at level 10 also? Basically, you just have to do your research. And if you have questions, ask them. Don't be afraid to ask the questions. And if they don't give you an answer that's 100%, you know, that you get it, ask again or question it. You know, you always have to ask. If a network, for example, says that they're going to give you all the benefits in the world, ask them to prove it. Like, they should be able to. Get them to show you examples of how they've helped others. Even ask for channel names of others that you could talk to. You know, don't be shy to go out of your way to question someone's motives and to question their promises. You know, because they could be lying just to get you to sign. They are salesmen after all, a lot of those guys. But then there's a lot of the networks and stuff right now, they offer 0-day or 30-day contracts. 30 days is not a long time to be locked in. That's, you know, if you made a mistake and you say, you know what, this just isn't for me, then get out of it. At my level, they're more like 1 to 2 year contracts. And 1 to 2 years, that can be an extraordinarily excruciating time when you are unhappy with them. So it's a huge decision. You got to just really be sure that you know what you're doing. I don't know why I walked up here. I'm wanting to go to my sand. Actually, I probably need more of these. There we go. Ouch. Ouch. But yeah, you don't really know who you can trust until you do. And sometimes it will be a mistake. When it is a mistake, then you just have to kind of roll with the punches and deal with it. For example, this network that I'm thinking about going to. Oh, and I want to just, because I got the comment a few times sort of indicating that this, that I was getting dropped and that I was getting kicked out. It's not quite the case. I mean, they again said that it was nothing to do with my channel, that they were just moving in a different way, focusing on their own stuff. And in fact, even to be networked with them was sort of an honor. It was sort of a privilege. I had to maintain 1.5 million views every single month just to stay on their network. And if I didn't meet that requirement, I was gone either way. So that's a humongous number. I'm one of very few people to reach that number every month. And, you know, I'm very, very happy to have been with them. They never did me wrong. Same as like when I left Curse. They never did me wrong. And Defias never did me wrong. Any question I ever had, they answered in good time. And, you know, it was fun. But I'm looking at other options now. And it's just, I kind of have to take a chance. What I'm going to say is maybe write me up in a trial period. If I don't like it, I'm out. If I do like it, then I'll gladly sign a 2-year deal, you know? But if they can show, if they can prove to me that they're good for like even 6 months, even, you know what, even 60 days, they should be able to, then I'm good. Then I'd be willing to sign whatever, you know? So that's the way that I'm going to take it. And that was the last topic thing. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, it's just random. Well, not random, but I go through every comment of the TimeShot series, and we kind of just figure out what we're going to talk about, and we do, and we talk. And I really enjoy this. So I'm not requesting that you leave comments below, but as you have a thought come to you, go ahead and leave it in the comments below, whether it's on this video or one of the following TimeShot videos. And you know what? Maybe your comment will also be featured. Just maybe. I have fun doing this. This filled up like 45 minutes. Some of it without sound. That was amazing. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I apologize again for the no sound thing. Oh, sometimes I'm such a noob when it comes to YouTube. Either way, we'll be seeing you guys next time on TimeShot. Bye-bye.